Good morning, everyone. I'm Victor Johnson. I'm a career facilitator here at Goodwill Columbus. And this morning, we're going to be talking about writing an effective resume. And we have been focusing on resumes for the past couple of weeks, and we're going to continue focusing on the resume to give you all the help you need for a good resume, your best resume, the resume that's going to get you noticed. So, towards the end of this presentation, I'm going to show you some links that you can go to so that you can get help with your resume. And we are offering free help with your resume with one of our career specialists and resume experts. So let's go ahead and get started with this presentation about effective resumes. Okay, so what's effective? Basically, something that is, and for lack of a better term, perfect. You want your resume not only to sound or read well, but also to look good, and you want it to be perfect. The thing about a resume is it shows how much work you're willing to put into finding work. And to show a resume to someone when you think there might be something wrong with it, if you haven't taken the time and the energy to check when you think something might not be right, if you haven't taken that time to make sure that it's correct, to make sure that it's perfect, then why would someone want to hire you? If you're just going to do a halfway job on your resume, maybe you'll do a halfway job for them too. So remember, always, if you have an idea or you have an inkling or suspicion that something on your resume isn't right, get some help, get someone else to look at it, look up other resumes and see how they're written, and just make sure that your resume is perfect. Okay? So let's keep going. So some of the things you do and don't do for your resume. One is you only use one telephone number. In your contact information, you just want to put your name, maybe your city and state, and your telephone number and your email address. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Used to be that you would put your street address in a resume, and that's not needed so much anymore. I mean, we are a very digital society now. We're living in an age where, more mail comes to us electronically than comes to us to our front door. So think accordingly. You're not probably going to get letters because that costs money from other companies. You're probably going to get emails or phone calls. So focus on that when you're putting in your contact information. And sometimes you don't want to put in your city or state because we do travel for our jobs, okay? And if you're living on one side of town and the job that you want is on, way on the other side of town, and you don't mind driving, don't put your city and state down. Don't put that down. Here's the reason. People try to be fair, but we're all human. And if I'm on one side of town and I see that you're city and state, you're way on the other side of town or in a different town, I might think, well, that person's going to have to drive a long way. They might have to, especially when the weather's bad, maybe, they might have trouble or they don't want to drive that far. It's just one of those things. People drive long distances to work every day. So don't make it an issue, okay? Just use your contact information as your name, your phone number, your email address. If you are willing to drive 45 minutes one way to work, that's up to you. And when you really like a job, you don't mind driving 45 minutes one way to work. So let's remember that. Don't use two telephone numbers, use one, use your email address. And if you have a LinkedIn page, put your LinkedIn address on there. Keep your resume 1 to 2 pages in length. Now, 1 page is usually it's the standard, but here's the thing: if you have a lot of experience, whether you've been at one job your whole life or whether you've been at multiple jobs, if you have a lot of experience, and for this position you need them to see the kind of experience you have, then take your resume to 2 pages, but make sure it's 2 full pages, like 1 3/4 page, or 2 full pages, but you don't want to have 1 full page and then, just a little bit at the top of a second page, okay? Find a way, if you've only got a little bit at the top of a second page, find a way to get it all on 1 page, all right? You bold your name, and your name should be larger than any of the other text on your resume. And then in your resume, use a 12-point font, Arial or Times New Roman. They're easy to read. 12-point font is easy to read. Sometimes you can reduce the font so that you can get everything on 1 page, but don't go below 10 point, okay? Do not go below 10, because then it's just way too hard to read. So remember, between 10 and 12, 12 being the best, okay? Now, when you're talking about the things you did in your work experience, you're going to use bullets. And in those bullets are going to start with an action word, a verb, okay? Use the present tense of verbs to describe duties in your current job, internships, or activities. So here's like develop, manage, clean. So if your job says from June 2019 to present, then you're going to have present tense verbs when you're describing your duties in that job. Develop, manage, clean, okay? But if that was a job you did before and you're no longer at that job, you're going to use the past tense of the verb. So developed, managed, cleaned, okay? Present tense for a job that you are presently in, and past tense for jobs that you no longer have. All right. List your skills when possible, not just your duties, okay? It's not that you just cleaned something, but how well did you clean it? Did you ever get praise for the way that you did something? Those are the kind of things that you need to let an employer know. Not just what you did, but how well you did it. And if you achieve something, if you were employee of the month, or you consistently receive praise from your supervisor or manager, or your performance evaluations were always great, then that's the kind of thing you want to get into your resume. So don't write references available upon request. That's an old thing. That's an old thing in resumes. You don't have to do that, and you should not do that anymore. Your references are going to be on a separate sheet, and they're going to, when it says available on request, wait for them to be requested. Sometimes in the job application, it'll say, ask for your references there. But until someone asks you for your references, you hold on to that information. Now, remember, you've got to have that information available so that as soon as someone said, may I see your references, you're ready to go with that. You're ready to give that to them, okay? Sorry about that. I've got these little timers going off all around me. Do not use the pronoun I. Your resume is about you, so you don't need to say, I did this, because your name's already at the top. Who else would have done it, okay? And that's not the way resumes read. Okay, remember the bullets are start with an action verb. So I is not an action verb, all right? So no I's in a resume, okay? Proofread, proofread, proofread. Remember what I said about if you're not going to take the time to make sure your resume is perfect, why would I want to hire you? You not only proofread, but you have someone else proofread it. You have 2 people proofread it. You read it backwards, word by word. And remember, once again, if you have a doubt if you think you haven't phrased it correctly, if you think you haven't spelled it correctly, if you think you haven't said it correctly, get someone else's opinion. Find a way to find out. Make a way to find out, is it correct or not? Okay? Because if it's not correct, your resume is going right into file 13, the trash can. Okay? And then save your resume as a PDF. Why is a PDF? Because a PDF document can't be changed. All right? And you don't want, once you've got it perfect, you don't want to make any kind of, simple mistake like you've got it open in Word or whatever you're using as your word processor program, and you accidentally hit, like an extra period or before you save it or something like that. You don't want that to happen. So once you've got it perfect, save it as a PDF. Just like the cartoon says, it says here that you're a professional booger. It says, oh, blogger. See, he didn't check his resume. And I'll be honest, if I'm an HR person, that's probably, even though I might finish the rest of the interview, that is probably the end of my consideration of you for this job, okay? Resumes are in bulleted format, meaning just like on this slide here, you see that little mark right before the word bulleted? That's a bullet, okay? The statements are bulleted, and they're sentences, but they are short, concise sentences, but not 2 or 3 words, like cleaned entire building. That is not a good bullet, okay? How did you clean the building? What were your duties in cleaning the building? So cleaned the entire building, ensuring that all safety protocols were followed. Okay, that's more information, and it's a longer bullet, okay? Your summary of skills, or your summary, that's part of a resume that focuses on your skills rather than the work experience. And so it talks about things that you can do and things that you've learned. And then there's resumes where you have your other experiences. Just think like if you're changing jobs or changing careers. Let's say you were a nurse, but now you'd like to go into the IT field, like you want to be part of an IT help desk. Well, what skills as a nurse transfer to being someone at an IT help desk? Well, what do both of them do? Both of them deal with people. And whether you call the person a patient or a client, it's the same thing. They are customers, and you're dealing with the public, you're dealing with a customer, and so you have to know how to handle bad situations, difficult situations, and also how to build trust and confidence with your clients or customers. So, in that case, I would show all the ways that I successfully worked with people when I was a nurse and transfer that so that they could see how that would transfer to me being an IT help desk person. And the summary is usually the first thing right after your information, contact information at the top of a resume. The summary basically gives them an idea of what you can do and maybe how well you do it. It's the section of the resume where you can create a fast and favorable impression. It's also the part of the resume where you get the person interested in reading the rest of your resume. So writing a good summary, intrigues the person and, gives them enough information for them to say, hey, I really want to read the rest of this resume. I want to find out more about this person. So here's an example of a summary statement. Now, summary statement's just 2 or 3 concise sentences. Remember, you don't use the pronoun I. You're not going to use my because your name's already at the top. So you're going to speak about yourself, but you're not going to use any pronouns. So here's one: dedicated child advocate with a focus on the unique needs of children with disabilities. Flexible and accommodating professional who implements creative hands-on lessons that align with IEP goals. Possessing strong communication skills to develop excellent rapport with family members, colleagues, and the community. 3 sentences. But from those 3 sentences, I can see you've got experience as a child advocate for children with disabilities, that you're flexible, that you have created hands-on learning assignments, and that you know what IEP goals are, that, well, you know what an IEP is, okay? That you're possessing strong communication skills, that you in the past have developed an excellent rapport with family members, colleagues, and the community, okay? So I can tell all that now, and now I'm ready to read the rest of your resume because I'm intrigued, now I'm interested. And once again, you're going to use action verbs in your bullets that describe your work experience. Strong action words, okay, and self-descriptors. You don't want to sound boastful or arrogant, but you do want to be confident and sound confident. Also, be concise. I mean, you don't want your bullets to be too short, and you don't want them to be too long. Remember, this person, whoever's reading your resume, may be reading hundreds of resumes, in a week, or maybe 30 resumes, 40, 50, 60 resumes a day. You want to be concise so that when they're looking at your resume, they're not thinking, oh my God, this is a long resume. How am I going to get through this? Give them what they need, the facts and the truth, okay? Just the facts, Joe Friday used to say. Okay, so factual and truthful, and using those action words at the beginning of the bullet, verbs like adapted, administered, analyzed, completed, promoted. And here's the other thing. Try to find synonyms for your words. Don't use the same word over and over again. Let's say you develop something, okay? You don't want to use develop for at the beginning of every bullet, okay? You want to find different ways to say the same thing with a powerful verb starting off the bullet. You want to quantify your performance. What does that mean, quantify? Well, you want to tell them how well you did something, how much you increased business, the things that you did that improve the business or show that you can really handle that position. Things like I saved $5,000 annually by reducing fixed spending. Okay. Now saved is your action verb, $5,000 annually by reducing fixed spending. So now I know, you can handle reducing fixed spending. You know how to handle or budget, for certain costs. Sorted over 400 products for location and inventory lookups daily. That is a lot of work, and the word you could add to that is, sorted or over 400 products for location and inventory lookups daily with 100% accuracy. If you never made a mistake, 100% accuracy. If you made 1 or 2 mistakes, maybe 90, 95% accuracy. But the thing is, you want to show, even though I was doing a lot of this work, this is a lot of stuff coming in, I was still on top of it, okay? Cleaned homes for 15 clients monthly. What does that tell me? 15 clients tells me that you were in demand. If you can keep 15 clients a month, then you must be doing something right, okay? So you quantify, how well you're doing something. Show your accomplishments. Don't tell just what your job was. And then the last thing we're going to talk about are these keywords, key phrases. Okay. Lots of companies today have, computers that read resumes, and they're looking for certain words for certain positions. Okay. A large place like Nationwide Children's Hospital, they must see thousands of resumes a day. Now, and they have, many positions. And so they're looking for the right person for each position. So when they put out a job announcement, they say what they're looking for in this person. They use specific words in their job announcement to find the right people. So if you can do those things, then use the words that are in the job announcement. That way, when your resume goes to them and it's being read by the computer, it starts hitting those words. They have this algorithm where when it sees these words in a resume, then it kicks it out and it says, okay, or the computer says, okay, this is one that should go to HR, okay, for this position. So you want to read thoroughly. You want to read that job announcement. You want to know it like the back of your hand. And you want to use the same words and phrases in that job announcement in your resume. And I'm not talking about making things up. I'm just saying if the job announcement says sanitized, but your resume said clean, but part of your job in cleaning was sanitizing things, then change it to sanitized. Okay? Match the words in the job announcement. The more keywords you use, the more closely you'll match for the job you're looking for. And take your cues straight from the source. Use those same words in your resume, because lots of companies, to help their HR people, they're using those tracking systems. The software, the algorithms that scan and look for certain words and phrases, training, degrees, former job titles, types of experience. They're looking for those things electronically in the computer. So read that job announcement and make sure that you are putting in all the things you need to get that job. Okay, so that's it for this morning, writing an effective resume. I'll tell you what, this afternoon, the presentation at 2:00 is going to be writing summary statements. So we'll talk more about the resume. And next week, we're going to be doing more work with the resume. We're going to be doing more work with helping people with resumes. So one of the things I do want to show you is if you are interested in getting help on your resume, one-on-one help, you can use this link here, bit.ly/3EUGIQ with a large Q, small q, large Q. But if you go to that link, you can schedule for an individualized session with one of our resume experts, and you can get all the help you need on your resume. Remember, if you have a doubt, find out. Get that resume checked, okay? And we'll see you this afternoon. Thank you very much for watching this morning. Goodbye.